Hello there, movie lovers. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you the recap of the movie Slow video. Before we start, hit the like button, it's free and will help me to grow this channel. Here we go. At the start of the film, we see a teenage boy watching a girl's skirt fly over her hips in slow motion due to his ability to see movements at a slow speed. The most horrible thing is that this isn't his supernatural ability, instead, it is a disease. Then we are taken into a flashback to a few hours ago in a CCTV control center in Korea with two ladies discussing a new employee, Yeo Jang-Boo, who was wearing sunglasses while monitoring CCTV footage. While gossiping, they see two thieves in the footage and quickly notify the manager, who provides cops with the thief's location. The cops arrive quickly, and the cat-and-mouse chase begins. However, after a brief chase, the police were unable to locate them. The control center workers did their utmost to find them but failed. Then Jang-Boo impresses everyone by providing a video clip of where and when the robbers disappeared. Even though they were so quick, he still caught them in the footage. The in-charge contacts the police, and the robbers get arrested in no time. As a result, he gains considerable notoriety and repute, but he displays no emotion and keeps watching the CCTVs. Actually, Jang-Boo has a hereditary disorder that causes him to watch everything in slow motion, and he wears sunglasses to conceal this disease. Then we are taken back in time to when Jang-Boo was a normal teenager. Jang-Boo participates in a student race and while running, he spots his crush, Bong Sumi. This was the first time Jang-Boo saw things moving slowly. He informs his parents, who promptly take him to an eye specialist, Dr. Sok. After thoroughly examining him, Sok informs his parents that their son has a very rare genetic disease known as dynamic visual acuity, DVA, in which a person sees movements at a relatively slow speed. He throws a baseball at Jang-Boo very quickly, but because of his illness, he watches the ball approaching him slowly and catches it before it can strike him. Jang-Boo's doctor advises him to always wear glasses to hide the disorder. According to the doctor, the ailment is uncommon and expensive to treat, which is why Jang-Boo's father goes abroad to earn money for his treatment. Jang-Boo was very close to his father, and his departure made him feel alone. This disease provided him with both benefits and drawbacks because it allowed him to see girls' skirts flying off their hips in slow motion but also caused him to be bullied by his classmates for wearing sunglasses. Because of his disorder, Jang-Boo only has Sumi as a friend. She always shows up to help him when he is being victimized, which led to her own bullying. As a result, she also left Jang-Boo, who was left alone once more. He is now fed up with his sickness and prefers to go blind. Then, in an effort to go blind, he begins watching an excessive amount of TV. The trick did not work, but as a result of watching so many TV series, Jang-Boo learned all the social skills but didn't get out to practice them. After a few years, Jang-Boo's family learns the sad news that his father has passed away due to an accident at his workplace. The death of his father has broken him from the inside, prompting him to seek help from Dr. Sok. Upon witnessing his sadness, Sok advises him to get a job to keep himself busy as well as to support his family financially. Jang-Boo joins a CCTV control center since he likes to observe people on TV all day for no reason, and this is where the story comes back to the present. Because Jang-Boo does not communicate with anyone, his co-worker, Byung-soo, suspects he is going through a trauma and decides to help him feel better. He sits alongside him at work and attempts to converse with Jang-Boo, but he doesn't speak and answers all questions by just nodding his head. Byung-soo discovers that while watching the footage, Jang-Boo is counting every step people take to go to a specific location and noting them on a page that is meaningless to him. Every day, Byung-soo asks him different questions in an attempt to elicit a response, but he fails. However, when he asks Jang-Boo whether he has any girlfriends, he notices something different. Jang-Boo paused and remembered someone, none other than Sumi, his childhood crush. The very next day, he goes to her residence to meet her. Fortunately, he finds her residence despite returning after several years, and as expected, Sumi has grown into a lovely young lady. However, she has a horrible financial situation and is in debt. Jang-Boo notices her arguing with her debtor, who is pressing her to sell her home and repay his loan. Knowing that it is not the appropriate time to talk, he remains silent and returns home. Jang-Boo begins monitoring her daily life via the CCTV cameras to adopt her habits. He notices that every evening she buys a soda can and consumes it in front of a coffee shop, so he begins to do the same thing. A few days later, Jang-Boo notices her gazing at a discarded couch on the roadside and understands what she wants. At night, he drags the couch from the road and sets it in front of the coffee shop. The next evening, as expected, Sumi discovers the sofa and sits on it, unconcerned about why and who left it there. The next morning, due to severe rainfall, Sumi is forced to wait at a bus stop. Jang-Boo, who is always watching her through CCTVs, chooses to assist her, believing that this is the appropriate time to enter Sumi's life as a savior. He and Byung-soo arrive at the bus station in record time. Jang-Boo opens the umbrella and covers her, just like a movie hero would, but instead of thanking him, she reprimands him for courting a woman and departs. Later that day, he pays a visit to Sok and asks him for advice on how to please Sumi. Sok suggests that he give her a bouquet. The following morning, he spots Sumi on the road, who is late for her musical performance. She realizes she will be late, so she contacts her audition manager and begins singing in the middle of the road. Her voice was so wonderful that no one could take their gaze away from her. Jang-Boo approaches her as her song comes to a close and gives her the bouquet. Sumi returns it to him in wrath, declaring that she prefers poison to flowers from him, and walks away. Jang-Boo, anxious to reunite with her, addresses her by name. To his disbelief, she denies being Bong Sumi and instead claims to be Oh Sumi. Jang-Boo comprehended that he had messed up again and had been chasing the wrong target all this time, but it was too late because he had fallen in love with her. Later that day, Sumi discovers him pursuing her and demands he carry her shopping bags. She questions him about who Bong Sumi is and why he is searching for her, to which he responds that she was his teenage sweetheart. As per usual, Jang-Boo is keeping an eye on Sumi through CCTVs and notices that she received a call, after which she began dancing erratically. The call came from the audition director, and Sumi got selected. She goes to a nearby eatery to celebrate, and while dining, she sees Jang-Boo standing outside and invites him in. She shows him her script and practices her phrases in front of him, which earns admiration. Then Jang-Boo demonstrates his talent by grabbing spoons hurled at him with lightning speed, astounding everyone. The next day, Byung-soo notices Jang-Boo on CCTV, counting the steps to Sumi's house. He has an odd feeling about it, but he disregards it. Later that day, Sumi encounters Jang-Boo, who is waiting for her, and they begin to stroll together. During her conversation with him, she learns that he works in a CCTV control center and can spy on anyone. On their route, they pass that coffee shop. She informs Jang-Boo that she has a crush on that coffee shop owner and wants to have a car like his so she can go to the beach daily. Hearing this, he becomes jealous of the shop owner and starts looking at him angrily. Jang-Boo decides to take her to the shore, so he asks his co-workers if someone has a car to lend for the day, but no one owns a car there. Having no private car, he becomes friends with a local bus driver by traveling with him for an entire day and playing baseball. Then he asks him to take them to the beach in his bus, to which he agrees, and he, together with Byung-soo and Sumi, board the bus for the beach. However, the traffic supervisor refused to let the local bus cross the city, forcing them to return in vain. A female kidnapping gang has spread dread throughout the city, and CCTV control center employees have been asked to keep a tight eye on each avenue. That same day, Jang-Boo sees that Sumi has vanished from the front of the CCTV camera without a trace. He goes to find her, only to discover that she pranked him just to test his loyalty. She removes his glasses, and the two share a passionate kiss. To continue their romance, they head to Sumi's house, but debt collectors arrive and make a mess in her house, threatening to return his money. Jang-Boo rushes into the house for her but collapses as his eyesight blurs. The debtors leave after some heated exchanges, but Jang-Boo learns that she is the actual Bong Sumi since her possessions tossed by them contain the drawings that he gave Sumi when they were at school. She admits to being his classmate and claims she did so because she does not want to remember her past. Jang-Boo does not respond and returns home. The next morning, he visits Dr. Sok, who examines his eyes and informs him that he is about to lose his eyesight. Jang-Boo was already aware of it, which is why he always counts his steps wherever he goes. Here, Sumi sells her house and pays off her debts, but she is now homeless. With his hazy vision, Jang-Boo keeps watching her through CCTVs when she is in a store with a package containing her possessions. Meanwhile, One of his co-workers notices the woman kidnapper's automobile roaming in the same area. While contacting the police, they lost the automobile on CCTV, and Jang-Boo is unable to locate Sumi on the screen. He runs to save her, but on the way, he loses his eyesight and collides with the bike. Byung-soo sees this and rushes out to assist him. Meanwhile, an unknown man grabs Sumi's arm, but Jang-Boo runs toward him before he can compel her to go with him. The kidnapper flees the scene, while Jang-Boo barely clashes with a truck. The cops arrive and take Sumi in for questioning, while Byung-soo arrives to accompany Jang-Boo. He sobs while holding his friend's hand, distraught over his loss of eyesight. Many days pass, yet the two lovers never see each other. Unaware that Jang-Boo is now blind, Sumi talks in front of CCTV cameras, assuming he is observing her. However, after a few days, she spots him at the coffee shop and waves, but to her surprise, he pulls out his walking stick and walks in the opposite direction. She follows him until she enters an art gallery stuffed with Jang-Boo's drawings of her. He murmurs that even though he has lost his vision, her face is still in front of his eyes. The next morning, they cross paths again, and Sumi begins to follow him. However, this time, he asks her where she would like to go. She realizes he can detect her presence and embraces him, overcome with emotions, marking the end of the film. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, please hit the like button. Subscribe for more recaps like this.